Kayla Black at the Prohibition Museum in Savannah, Georgia. Kayla, tell me, what is behind you there?
Well, what we've got here is a case of the different ways that breweries were able to get through the 13 years of Prohibition when they were no longer allowed to make their bread and butter, which was beer and other alcohol. So we've got here a collection of different Bevo artifacts. These are all Bevo, which was actually sort of like the O'Doul's of the time, a non-alcoholic beer. A few Pabst cheese boxes, Coors malted milk, Yingling ice cream. All of these things were their clever ways of trying to figure out how they were going to make it through Prohibition when they were no longer able to do what they had been doing for generations at that point.
All right, can you tell me something more about the history of Prohibition?
Yeah, Prohibition started officially in the country in 1920 on a national level and lasted all the way until 1933. But the rumblings of Prohibition go all the way back to early colonial America. The Puritans did not like alcohol. Here in Savannah, Georgia, they had the very first national Prohibition, which was enacted in 1734, where you were not allowed to drink what they called hard liquors, hard waters, which would be rum, brandy, those sorts of things. The beer and wine were fine. All the way through, just after the Civil War, that became the hot button issue, was Prohibition. And by 1920, the federal government had passed the Volstead Act and the 18th Amendment, basically banning alcohol from the country. That lasted for 13 years. Americans certainly didn't stop drinking alcohol during that 13 years, and we had industries grow through Prohibition, most of them illegal. The rise of organized crime happened at the time, women's liberation, all of these different things circled around the fact that people weren't allowed to drink, and they were trying to figure out ways that they could anyway. In 1933, Prohibition was officially ended, but there are long-reaching consequences for Prohibition, which are many things that we talk about here at the museum.
Wonderful. Talking about the museum, what is the history behind it?
Well, the museum's only been open for about a month now. We opened on May 29th of 2017, this past month. But we've been working on it for a little more than 2 years now. When we first opened up into this building, it was wide open. It was just a large retail space, and we've gone through the process of restoring brick, restoring beautiful artifacts throughout the museum, laying carpet, putting in ceilings, and collecting artifacts. That's been the longest and hardest part of it. That portion has been going on for about 5 years now. They've been looking for artifacts because it's been in the back of their mind that they wanted to do this museum for just about 5 years.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Kayla. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.